All right, I haven't made a video in a few days. I've still got that hacky cough. We are now in 2017, so Happy New Year. Trust everybody made it safely through the celebrations. I am going to use my Faber-Castell polychromos, and I am coloring in Images of Grace. And I just got this for Christmas from my husband's uncle and aunt. This is the page I'm working on. Now, I've done backgrounds before, and quite a bit of them, but I'm still getting plenty of questions on these. So I'm going to show you what I've done here. Now, I used my color swatches, and I picked out the colors I wanted. Okay? Then I came around, and this time I'm actually using, and let me jump ahead a minute to back here in the back of the book. There are several blank pages, so I wrote down the scripture and the colors that I've been using. So if anybody asked, I would be able to refer back. So it's not something I've always done, but it's something I'm trying to do. With my polychromos, I'm using 130 and 124. The 130 is actually a dark flesh. I don't call it flesh. It looks really pink to me. And then the 124 is a little bit deeper pink. I usually start with light and go to dark. I'm going to show you something a little bit different this time, okay? And I am going to see if I can zoom you in and still keep this clear. Let it stop bouncing for a minute. Move that up. Move this in. All right. I took the darkest color and I have sloppily gone around the letters. Okay, are we staying in focus for this? Yes, good. Because a lot of people are just like, well, I don't understand how you fade it out. How do you crisscross the colors? How do you make it work? All right, so I'm going to sloppily go around. And I've even got the pencil a little bit on the side. That helps me make a new point if I roll it from time to time while I'm going around. See how now I've got that little point on the end? Okay, so we've gone around. Now what we're going to do, see how I've got the little circles coming around all over here? That's the next step. Just little circles. Do you see how that line is going away? That's what you're trying to do. Get that line to go away by just going lighter. You're half on that original line that you made and half on the paper, the white areas. And you're just going around. Now, hopefully you don't have just a real dark outline anywhere. Hopefully you're getting rid of that while you're going around. And if there's places where you do have it, it will be okay in a little bit because we're going to blend with our next lighter shade of pink. Right now I am using the 124. It is a polychromo. I would do the same thing if I was using Prismacolors or any other colored pencil. It's just that in a minute when I start to blend, you're going to see the blend happen a lot easier without a lot of work on my part because these are an oil base. Okay, so I've done that. Now I'm going to switch over to my lighter color. And I'm going to start in just with my circles. Now, a lot of people get to this point and they're like, oh, I'm so tired of coloring. Let's just get it done. Okay, so even if you've got excited and you think I'm just going to get her done, you can still come back in here, do your ovals, and let's clean that up. It almost hurts when I see someone do such a good job and then they get anxious, they get tired of coloring, they just want to have it done. You can do your little circles all over your page and it should get rid of that scribbly. So even if you scribbled first, you might have to work a little harder at it, but you can get rid of that scribbling. okay? So even now, if it's a lesson you're just learning and you've got some pages that look good except the background, or maybe there's some lettering that looks a little off, whatever the problem is, you can still go back with these little circles and clean that up and fix it. Okay? Especially if you have white spots showing through, that is tooth that is in the paper. It is the blank areas that have yet to have color shoved way down into them. So I'm just blending now. See, I've got this dark color that I did first, and now I'm blending right up to that and even into it. And I'm kind of turning the pencil as I go some, and what that's going to do is help me keep that point on there in case I need to get into any little areas. Just keep going. Do you see how that scribbling's going away? You can do it. You're just going to have to keep going at it. And here, I should do another whole coat of this pink on there to get rid of all the white. But when I back it up in a little bit, you're not going to see all that white because you'll be a little further out. Right now, you're closer to the picture than I even am. So you're going to see every little thing. But that's the idea right now. I want you to see how this is blended. And I only use the dark out far enough to really put a good fade. Okay, now you don't have to fade out to nothing, but you need to get it to where you know that you're going to be able to blend the next color in with it. Okay, with that in mind, just keep coloring. Don't get anxious, just keep going. And when you have a good blend, then sometimes you can go different directions like this and not just have to stay in your circles. But be sure you're doing a good blend in there. Now, I told somebody in the coloring book, Keep It Clean for Ladies Only group over on Facebook, I said, yeah, I'm going to do a video on how to fix this. And you might look at this and go, well, what is there to be fixed? What I'm doing now is my clear plastic sheet that I have underneath to protect the sheet under it. It was right there, so I was going to get a line from the edge right here, and it was going to leave a line right up through there, so I'm just pulling it out. That's all I'm doing, pulling it out so I don't get a line underneath. But yeah, I told him, I said I was going to come over here and show y'all how I fix this. And I will show you that in a little bit. But I wanted to show you how I got this far first. Now, do you see how my pinks are actually close enough in shade that you're not seeing that darker shade that I had put in first? I mean, it's there, but it's not in your face. And that's good. It means that the blend is happening fairly well. But I want it a little bit darker in areas. You've heard me say before, make your darkers dark, your lighters light. You want to be able to squint your eyes and see lights and darks. And right now, all I see is one mass of color on my background. And my letters are good. They go from the light to the dark. My letters will almost always go light to dark. That dark anchors it on the page so that they don't look like they're floating around. Now, what I want to show you is I came around then and I picked up another color. This is actually number 126, and it's more of a red color. Okay, so there's the colors I've been using. I'm going to pick up this red now. Let me see if I can show you what I'm fixing to do. Do you see where there's bits of red in here? around this leaf is a good example. All right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to come back in here, and there's V's. The V's are like, do you see a V right there, or an angle? I call those the V spots, the little V's. And your little V's need to have some dark in them. Put the dark in it and then fade it out quickly by just little circles where you're barely even touching the paper. So look for your little V and be victorious over the page by getting some darker colors in there. Okay, that includes all the little ones across the bottom, just down there in the very bottom. If you fade it out quickly, you won't have to blend. If you end up with some marks that show, here we'll make some. Okay, like that right there, like that one. Come back in with your lightest shade and do your little circles, and that'll blend it out. See how it blended it? Okay, so we're going to keep doing that. Can you see a difference in this and this? See how that's got a little bit deeper down in there? It's anchoring the background so that it doesn't have the appearance that it's just floating around on the paper. Okay? I like to anchor things in my coloring. So just get that anchored down in there by adding that little bit of dark. See, there's a lot of white in there showing. I'm going to come back in and take care of some of that. And anywhere where you color inside or outside the lines, inside the other lines, you can always come back with an eraser and erase that later before you go on to your next color. All right, I'm going to come back in my lightest and get rid of some of that white. You saw that white that was in there. Just means there's still more white tooth in the paper that needed to be eaten up with color. Okay, so let's get that done. Just come through here, always blending with the lightest. You can use your colorless blender if that's what you're used to. Now I'm going to come in here and do a little bit, same thing here. And this is just going to help anchor the page. Just put some of those darkers in, and then I can come in with my battery operated eraser or one of the, another good eraser is this Factus Black 18. Get those at a lot of the art stores, craft stores. It's going to vary in price according to where you get them. If you're having to order online, check the shipping. Make sure that that's really what you want to do. But I find that number 18 will even erase my Prismacolors, the wax base. See, here's like a V area right here. Here's a V. I could go in my circle, down in the U part here. Here's more V's. Just anywhere where I might be able to add a little bit of darker color to help anchor this page and put just another deeper shade in there. And if you can find the V in your area, then that's just a natural place to put them. All right, then back with the lightest shade and do some blending. Okay, and I know some of you are watching this going, wait a minute, we were working on the Virgin Mary and baby Jesus. Yeah, I know, and I'm not forgetting that. I am going to go do one of those videos next, right after this. So I will get to it all. Lord willing, we'll find the time. Okay, and do you see how that's just fading out? Again, part of that is because of the pencils I'm using. Now I could go back in and go over all of this quite a few times to get rid of all the white. And if you've gone this way a few times, turn and go the other direction. As long as you're still doing your circles, it's going to be okay. Because what's that doing? It's actually pushing the color down into the grain of the paper, going the other direction. All right, so now as we zoom back out, okay, hold on. Here we go. As we zoom back out now, can you see where some of my lights and darks are? There's some darks right in here. There's some darks in the corners here. There's some darks across the bottom. There's a few darks in here. And it could have even been a little darker. And I could have even grabbed a white. Here's a Marco Renoir. It's still an oil base, which is what I was using. So even though it's a different brand, let's see what happens. Can I make my lighter area light? Even lighter still? And yeah, it is a little. I'm not sure it's doing much to it, but it is giving me a lighter bit in those larger areas. So I could just do that around in a few areas that are larger just to help bring some more light in. So the trick would be to use a lighter light in the first place. So, but my two pinks ended up blending so well that you couldn't see the lighter one anymore. So just come around and add some lighter light. It just adds a little bit of interest to the page. And then if I go around that, then that's going to help blend it in. Going back around with the lightest of my pinks that I had used. And it just helps blend everything in together. Okay. And you can still see plenty of tooth in this paper. This book is really on some nice paper. If it weren't two-sided, it's something I could probably use watercolor with. Now I'm going to come in with this darker, because here's a V area here. Here's some here. Down here. Over here. Okay, so just anything that's going to help the picture, and then in with the lightest to blend. Just anything that's going to help that picture to appear to have more depth to it. Okay? Just makes it a little more interesting than doing just a solid background. All right? So that's really all I had to show on this one. I did my usual light on top, dark on the bottom, medium in the middle. So that's really nothing new. I've been doing letters that way since day one. But anyway, that's it. Short, simple. Just do your lights in the middle, your darks around the edges, and then blend it. All right, y'all have a good 2017, and I'll see you back in a little bit.